Victoria, my dear, it is time to retire for the night. Do you require anything? No, my beloved. Sleep well. 6 months ago, Victoria's existence transformed irrevocably. An incident rendered her blind and paralyzed. At least, that is the narrative everyone accepts. However, within a household brimming with secrets, it is often the individual who cannot see who perceives everything. 8 months prior, Victoria Cole was thriving. She had established a technology startup from the ground up, sold it for 200 million naira, and wed a man she believed to be her equal. Marcos was attractive, charismatic, attentive, everything she had desired in a partner. Yet, 3 years into their union, circumstances began to shift. Marcos started returning home late, citing business dinners with important clients. Victoria became aware of the fragrance lingering on his garments, the way he safeguarded his phone, and the muted conversations that ceased upon her entrance into the room. She reassured herself that she was merely being paranoid, overanalyzing, until the day she returned home prematurely from a business trip. She detected noises emanating from upstairs, from their bedroom. Upon opening the door, she discovered Marcos in bed with her personal assistant. Victoria did not scream, did not weep, nor did she create a scene. She silently closed the door, descended the stairs, and sat in the living room in contemplation. She could initiate divorce proceedings, walk away, and move forward. However, Victoria sought answers, genuine answers. How long had this affair been ongoing? How many women had he truly loved her? Or was it always about her wealth? She required evidence, complete and irrefutable evidence, and she was aware of precisely how to obtain it. 2 weeks later, Victoria orchestrated a vehicular accident. It was meticulously arranged, on a secluded road, at the optimal time of day. She enlisted professionals who owed her favors. The collision appeared authentic, and the damage was convincing. When the paramedics arrived, Victoria was unconscious. Marcos received the notification at his workplace. By the time he arrived at the hospital, the doctors were delivering heart-wrenching news: traumatic brain injury, total loss of vision, paralysis from the waist down. She would never see again, never walk again. Constant care would be necessary. Marcos's expression conveyed all the appropriate emotions: shock, sadness, concern. However, Victoria, lying in that hospital bed with her eyes shut, detected something different in his tone when he spoke to the doctor. Relief. 2 days later, Marcos brought Victoria home in a wheelchair. Dark sunglasses shielded her eyes. Her voice was frail, defeated. "Thank you for taking care of me," she murmured. "I don't know what I'll do without you." "I will always be here," Marcos assured her, squeezing her hand. Yet that night, after settling Victoria in her wheelchair by the window, Marcos ascended the stairs and made a phone call. Victoria could not see him, but her hearing was acute. "She's completely blind." The doctors confirmed it. "Yes, paralyzed as well. This alters everything." During the first week, Marcos was the ideal caretaker: attentive, helpful, patient. In the second week, a woman came to assist with Victoria's care, Marcos mentioned. But Victoria overheard them kissing in the hallway. "Is she truly blind?" the woman whispered. Marcos affirmed. By the third week, Marcos began bringing women home during the day. They would stroll right past Victoria, seated in her wheelchair, entirely disregarding her presence, as if she were merely a piece of furniture, insignificant, invisible. Victoria endured it all, silent, motionless, fulfilling her role flawlessly. However, she was not powerless. Prior to the accident, Victoria had installed hidden, sophisticated cameras throughout the house, recording everything. Every night, Marcos believed she was asleep. She was documenting. Voice-activated recorders captured every conversation. Her phone logged every detail: dates, times, names, evidence. By the second month, Victoria had uncovered something more troubling than the affairs. Marcos was collaborating with attorneys to obtain power of attorney over her financial matters, since she was unable to manage her business dealings any longer. He was positioning himself to seize everything: her money, her assets, her entire empire. She overheard him discussing the final aspect of his scheme with one of his mistresses. Once the paperwork is finalized, we will place her in a facility, a quiet location where she will receive care. Then we will be free." Victoria remained in her wheelchair, listening to her husband plan to confine her like an inconvenient issue. Nevertheless, she bided her time, collecting more evidence and constructing an unassailable case. Then came the 4th month. A new woman entered the house, walked past Victoria's wheelchair, and headed into the kitchen. Her fragrance was familiar. Her voice was unmistakable. It was Jennifer, Victoria's sister. Victoria's hands clenched the arms of her wheelchair so tightly that her knuckles turned white, yet her face remained expressionless behind those dark glasses. She listened as Marcus and Jennifer conversed in the kitchen. "When are you leaving her?" Jennifer inquired. "Soon. I am nearly finished with the financial paperwork. Everything will belong to us." "And what about her?" "A care facility. She will never notice the difference." They laughed, kissed, and went upstairs to Victoria's bedroom. A single tear rolled down Victoria's cheek, not from sorrow, but from fury. That night, Victoria made a phone call. "Jessica, it is time." Her best friend had been anticipating this call for months. "Are you certain?" "I have never been more certain of anything." Victoria informed Marcus that she wished to host a party, a celebration of survival, to express gratitude to everyone who had supported her. Marcus thought it was a splendid idea. "I will invite everyone," he said enthusiastically. And he did. Family, friends, business associates, even his mistresses, believing Victoria would remain oblivious. Over 100 guests on the evening of the celebration. The mansion radiated with lights and music. Guests arrived dressed in high-end fashion, sipping champagne while admiring the sophisticated arrangement. Victoria was positioned in her wheelchair at the heart of the room, wearing dark sunglasses and warmly greeting attendees. Marcus portrayed the role of a devoted husband, exhibiting attentiveness and care. Meanwhile, Jennifer took on the role of the concerned sister. The mistresses mingled, exchanging knowing glances. At 9 p.m., Victoria requested everyone's attention, and the room fell silent. Guests gathered around her. "Thank you all for coming," Victoria began, her voice gentle. "These past 6 months have been transformative. I have learned a great deal about the individuals in my life." People smiled, anticipating a heartfelt speech about gratitude and resilience. "I have discovered who genuinely cares for me and who has been deceitful." The atmosphere shifted slightly. "However, I have not been entirely truthful with you either." Marcus's smile wavered. The truth is, Victoria's hands tightened around the wheelchair. She stood up. The room gasped. She took off her sunglasses, revealing clear, focused eyes. "I am not paralyzed. I have never been blind. It was all a test." Silence enveloped the room. A complete and shocked stillness. "For 6 months, I feigned helplessness to observe my husband's actions, to see how he would treat me when he believed I was unable to see, unable to stop him, unable to defend myself." She retrieved a remote from her pocket and pressed a button. Every television screen in the mansion illuminated, displaying security footage. Marcus was seen with a blonde woman in their bedroom, with a brunette in the living room, and with a redhead in the kitchen. Marcus was also shown with Jennifer in Victoria's own bed. The audio was clear. "When are you leaving her?" "Soon. I am nearly finished with the financial paperwork." "And what about her?" "A care facility. She will never know the difference." The room was paralyzed with horror. Victoria turned to Marcus. "You believed I was trapped, helpless, and dependent on you." Marcus, I was unable to speak. However, I observed everything, listened to everything, and recorded everything. Her attorney advanced, presenting Marcus with an envelope containing divorce documents, a restraining order, accusations of fraud and theft, all substantiated by 6 months of documented proof. She turned to Jennifer and declared, "You are excluded from this family, from my will, from everything." Then addressing the guests, she stated, "Now you all understand that the man I married never truly loved me. He was in love with my wealth. And when I became a burden, he schemed to confine me and seize everything I had." She glanced back at Marcus, asserting, "But I was not blind. And now neither is anyone else." She exited the room, leaving Marcus standing there, devastated in front of everyone he had ever known. 3 months later, the divorce was concluded. Marcus received nothing. The prenuptial agreement was unassailable. He also confronted criminal charges for attempted financial fraud. Jennifer was completely disowned by the family. Victoria retained everything. Her narrative became a sensation. The woman who feigned blindness to unveil her unfaithful husband. She authored a best-selling book and established a foundation to assist women in escaping financial abuse. A year later, at a charity gala, a man approached her. "Miss Cole, I am David. What you accomplished was both brilliant and courageous." Victoria smiled and replied, "Thank you. Would you be interested in having coffee sometime? I assure you, I am not after your money." Victoria chuckled, asking, "How can I be certain?" He responded, "You cannot, but I am prepared to earn your trust in the proper manner." Victoria contemplated him for a moment and said, "Coffee. Just coffee. We shall see." For the first time in years, Victoria felt a sense of hope. Yet this time, she would remain vigilant. The lesson learned, Victoria discovered something profound during those 6 months. When individuals believe you cannot see them, they disclose their true selves. Marcus revealed his authentic character when he assumed she was powerless.At times. An individual who seems blind perceives more acutely than anyone else present. Furthermore, the most effective method to reveal the truth may involve allowing others to believe you are weak while you discreetly accumulate the strength to undermine them. Victoria feigned blindness, yet she was aware of everything. When she ultimately opened her eyes, the entire world recognized the truth as well. The conclusion. Thank you very much for viewing. If you appreciated this narrative, kindly remember to subscribe, like, and share. Your support is invaluable.